Is to review the skills that you've learned over the semester through different assignments and projects, and you will be demonstrating these skills in your final the day that we're together. So we're going to go ahead and open this final up in Canvas, and we're going to follow the directions 1 through 7. The first set of directions says to create a layer 4 and label it final. So if you're going to go over to your layers, you're going to notice that there's already 3 layers created. We're going to make a new layer by coming down to the plus sign. We're going to double click on layer 4 and type in the name final. Number 1 is finished. Now let's move on to number 2. We're going to type our name in size 48 in whatever font style that you choose. You're going to want to grab your regular type tool and you're going to go ahead and click. As you can see, the font size is not 48, so I'm going to come over here to my properties panel and I'm going to come down to the size of the font, and I can use my arrow and go find 48 and type in the name that I need. Go ahead and place it neatly inside of that space. Okay, we're done with number 2. Now, if you are thinking wisely and using the computer to your advantage, instead of retyping your name on the same exact size, you could copy Command C, Command V, and paste down below. If you don't do that, you have to retype it with the type tool. It says to use the touch type tool. You should, if you did the type tool assignment, have 7 different type tools listed here. If you are missing the touch type tool, you come over here to the 3 dots, you scroll down till you find the title of type, and then there are all these tools here. If they're highlighted like this, that means that they have not been placed into the toolbar. So these 3 were missing from my toolbar. Even though I don't need them, I can show you how to put them in. And then I can go ahead and close this by clicking on the 3 dots and going back and choosing my touch type tool. Now you can decide which letter you want to adjust. I'm going to choose my E. You can change the size, you can rotate the letter, whatever you want to do. I'm going to hold my shift key as I do this to keep my key straight. And then that one's done. Now, number 4, we're going to draw an ellipse using the Option and Shift key. And what I mean by I will know if you don't is that your circle is not going to look like a perfect circle. It's going to look more like an oval. So we're going to grab our ellipse tool, holding down the shape tools, grab the second tool on the list, put your mouse in this space, and as you hold the Shift and the Option, you're going to notice that your mouse is going to change. You can decide whatever color you want this to be or whatever outline you want to give it. The colors obviously are here. This is your fill color and this is your stroke color. I'm going to double click on my fill color and give it a bright pink. And then I'm going to choose a darker shade for the outline. That stroke is controlled by the appearance panel off to the side, so I can go ahead and raise up the size of my stroke. Deselect by clicking out of it. And now we're going to move on to the crescent moon. So I want you to create a crescent moon with a white fill and a black stroke, which means that you cannot copy my example. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we can make it any size we want as long as it fits into the space. And I'm going to double click on my fill. I'm going to create a white shape with a black stroke. So grab your mouse and drag it all the way to the corner. And I'm going to make my stroke a little bit smaller. Okay, now if we want to make this shape, I have to cut a shape out. But I'm going to need an overlapping circle to make that happen. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my circle. I'm doing Command C and Command F. Now Command F is allowing my copy to sit on top of my shape. So I'm going to hold the shift key as I drag it out. And this shift right here determines how narrow my crescent is going to be. So the more you shift your circle out, the thicker the moon is going to look. Okay. Now I want to cut this out of the shape, and I'm going to have to select both shapes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead with my selection tool and just drag a selection across. And I'm going to come over here to my toolbar and grab my shape builder tool. If I hover, there's a plus sign that would add these two shapes together, but instead of adding, I want to cut. So I'm going to go ahead with my option key. Notice it changes to a minus. I'm going to hold it down, and I have to go all the way out so that I delete the line as well, and let go. And now I have myself a moon. Okay. Now, some of you are becoming more proficient with the pen tool, and it's probably one of the most handiest tools in Illustrator. We're going to use not only the pen tool, but we're going to use the pen curvature tool. Okay. And again, if you're missing any of these tools, you need to go to that menu and pull those tools out and bring them to your toolbar. So I'm going to start with my pen tool. We're going to focus on the apple first, and then the stem will come last. So I'm going to go ahead and start at the top, and kind of visually, I'm not dragging. I just clicked once. I'm not holding my mouse down. I'm going to find the next place where this would naturally curve. Find another place, and you can copy exactly where I'm clicking so that you'll get the same results. Now, I'm glad this happened. I don't want this fill on. As I travel across, it's going to cover up my apple so much that I can't actually see where I need to be clicking. So without even changing tools, I'm just going to come over here and turn my fill off. Okay, that looks messy, but what I've done is I've given myself a chance to come in with my curvature tool now and just grab the middle. You can slide these up and down to try to fit it as best you can. And what it's doing is it's adding an anchor point in the middle that allows you to arch the line. You want to try to get as close as you can as possible. Now the outline is finished. I'm going to focus on drawing just a simple line here. So while this curvature tool is on, I'm going to grab my pen tool, and I'm just going to grab, I'm not going to connect this with this line because this is not meant to be a shape, so I'm just going to use a simple line, and there's not much editing that's going to happen. Undo, Command Z, because I don't need to arch it too much. And I'm just going to leave it just like that. Now the last thing I'm going to work on is my stem, and I'm going to start at the top here, and it's really narrow. And then I can use my curvature tool. And if you want to work in a more zoomed in space, you can hold Z down or grab your magnifying glass and zoom in. And this will allow you to get a better view. So I can see that as I've been working, I've been making some errors, so I can go back and fix this. And some of you are just going to want to simply just do this really quickly, but the thing about the pen tool is that you have to be patient and you have to give it time and dedication, because when you do that, you have better results. I am going to actually use my white anchor tool or selection tool, my direct selection tool, and I'm going to double click on here and I'm going to drag it over to try to get a more natural curve, because I'm noticing that it's not very natural. And I'm doing Command Z as I mess up. Okay, then if you want to go ahead and fill this in, since the stem is has a line through it, you can select your apple, use your eyedropper, I for eyedropper, and come in here and color it. And again, do the same thing for the stem, eyedropper, and grab the brown. And I'm going to zoom in here. There. Okay, perfect. And then the last is going to be doing a straight vertical line and a horizontal line. So this is just showing me that you know how to hold your shift key down as you draw straight lines. So I'm going to go to my shape menu, grab my line segment tool, and the first one I'm going to draw is my vertical. Now this is not vertical until I hold my shift key. The shift key is going to make it look straight. And you'll notice that I have no color. So I'm going to come over here to my stroke, not my fill, but my stroke, double click, and grab black. You can thicken that line, of course, by using the Properties panel. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw a horizon line. If you let go of the mouse before you let go of the key, then this can happen. So try doing it one more time. Hold Shift, let go of the mouse first, and then the key, and then it won't shift as you're letting go. And you are ready to turn this in. You're going to save this as an Illustrator file. And you can save it to the cloud or save it to your computer. It's up to you. And then turn it in on Canvas.